So test 1 discussion, paper 1, unit number 2. If you see the questions were been made little bit typical only, little bit need for conceptual clarity. For example, the first question is, what are the differences between social hierarchy and social stratification? Generally, everyone will think that social hierarchy and social stratifications are the same. So social hierarchies are individual based, social hierarchies are group based, means a limited group among themselves. Like for example, what? A hierarchy in an office, which is limited. Outside there is no hierarchy, inside only there is hierarchy. But social stratification is mainly because of power, prestige, economic pursuits, ascribed status. Because of ascriptive nature, there will be division. People will be divided in the form of rankings. They will be ordered. There will be an arrangement like higher order, lower order. There will be arrangement like superior arrangement or inferior arrangement. That particular arrangement, ordering is part of social stratification. Whereas social hierarchy is a simple format whereby it will be in a function oriented. It will be like relational. It will be like specific to mobility, functions, customs, or fluidic. Very easily a lower cadre can become a higher cadre. Means he can shift in his hierarchy. So the first question is mainly, what are the differences between social hierarchy and social stratification? So how we have to write an answer for this question? Social hierarchy and social stratification. Introduction. In any social system, there are two interrelated concepts which seems to be similar, but they are paradoxically dissimilar. Like social hierarchy and social stratification. Like that we have to start our answer. They seems to be similar, not big introduction. See, introduction means it should not be more than 4 to 5 lines. In the examination hall, you cannot give big introductions. That much time you will not have. So very simplified, what is the to the point you have to give the introduction. In every social system, or social system comprises of social hierarchy and social stratification, which seems to be similar, but they are paradoxically dissimilar with relation to each other. That we are going to discuss now. So in introduction is nothing but we will be giving the space. We will be giving an opportunity to the evaluator, so that please look down, please go deeper. I had explained your demand of the question. So in that way the intro should be there. So introduction should be attractive such that you have to show the evaluator that yes, answer is there in the bottom. So the answer is about what? Social hierarchy and social stratification. Then you will give the intro as I told you. Then after intro, you have to go for the body. In the body, you have to write what is social hierarchy, definition. The definition of social hierarchy and the definition of social stratification. So for example, social hierarchy definition is given by Louis Dumont in his Homo Hierarchus. So what he told, so hierarchy, social hierarchy is nothing but where the people will be trying to move up and down in the ladder by their functions, by their pursuits, by their behaviors. That is called a social hierarchy according to Louis Dumont definition. Louis Dumont definition you will be writing. After Louis Dumont definition, you will go for the definition which is given by Lundberg. In our notes, in our classroom notes, we have the definition of Lundberg, or you can also give the definition which I gave here, which is Melvin Tomlin. That definition also you can give. So in the body, social hierarchy definition, social stratification definition. So what is the demand of the question? The demand of the question is, if you see here, what are the differences between social hierarchy and social stratification, and what is the view of Karl Marx with respect to social stratification? In this, I gave the definition of social hierarchy. In this, I gave the definition of social stratification. So one page completed. Second page, what you have to write? You have to write the differences between the social hierarchy and social stratification. What are the differences between social hierarchy and social stratification? The differences between the social hierarchy and social stratification, like social hierarchy what are social stratification, social hierarchy achieved, social stratification ascriptive, social hierarchy relational, relatively they will be moving up and down, whereas social stratification they are rigid, they will be not moving up and down. Social stratification mainly based upon economy, parity, political power, whereas social hierarchy is individual based or group based or functions based or pursuits based. Means what I want to tell you, in social stratification the people will be ordered and arrangement will be there. There will be discrimination also. Here there is presence of discrimination. Here there will be absence of discrimination in hierarchy. It is just an arrangement like a police hierarchy, where they will be arranged in the form of an hierarchy. The society also, people will be arranged like elders and youngers, they are arranged, but there will be no discrimination. But in social stratification, like the best example of caste system, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, so they are arranged and there is discrimination is also associated to them. So we will write the differences between the social hierarchy and social stratification. Second page we completed. And coming to the question. Coming to the question, what are the differences between social hierarchy and social stratification? First part of the question I answered, means how to write answer I am telling you. Here I am not to explain you about the complete concept. So in this way you have to write social hierarchy, social stratification, their differences. Now you will come to the second part of the question, which is called as what is the view of Karl Marx with respect to social stratification. You know, so in social stratification, Karl Marx gave his concept mainly based upon capitalist and labor class. He classified the people into two. One is called as bourgeois and proletariat. So usually the bourgeois will be exploiting the resources of the proletariat. So hence there will be a class war, there will be a revolution. In that particular revolution, the proletariat will be attacking the bourgeois and they will be taking all the resources from the bourgeois. Hence a system will be established whereby the bourgeois and proletariat will come to the same situation. Again time goes on, again the people who are left with the income, they start accumulating the resources, and proletariat again they will be working like daily wages. Again the differences will exist, again the differences will move on, the differences will be called as again bourgeois and proletariat. Hence there will be a continuity of economic revolution, hence there will be a continuity of capitalistic revolution, which is given by the Karl Marx with respect to social stratification. So that is what with respect to social stratification we have to write. If you see here what I mentioned here. So what is social stratification? Social hierarchy. Karl Marx views on him. So the definition of Louis Dumont and the definition of Melvin Tumin, or you can write the definition which is given by Lundberg. Then what are the similarities I gave you, but you have to focus mainly on differences. For knowledge purpose I gave you similarity, but differences should be like this. I told you, relational, rigid, it is mainly based upon class, status, political power, it is mainly based upon functions, customs, etc. So different, it will be temporary in nature, it is permanent in nature, it is achievement in orientation, it is ascriptive in nature. So differences you will be writing. Then Karl Marx view, there is a proletariat and there is a bourgeois. What are the proletariat and bourgeois? They exploit false consciousness, class conflict will be there. Hence that particular Karl Marx view also got criticized. Why? Because social stratification is not just limited to wealth. The social stratification is also with respect to birth, with respect to caste, with respect to political parties also. Not only that, today the social stratification is become more wider with respect to occupation, with respect to age, with respect to profession. Also there are social stratifications are happening, but those social stratifications are social hierarchies where the discrimination is associated with social hierarchy, that are called as social stratification you need to mention. Got it? So in this way you have to write answer what is the difference between the social hierarchy and social stratification and the view of Karl Marx. Coming to the second question, easy question. What is this? Yes. Explain the major elements. Explain the major elements or components of a family. Illustrate your answer with suitable anthropological examples. So the my question is here, explain the major elements or components of a family. So first you will write about, see, in 20 marker answer, how a good effective answer can be. I am evaluating the paper since last 1 decade, honestly. So what I observed, not only from the rankers, not only from the toppers, where I felt answer is good, my personally, where in the first paragraph, like questions like family, marriage, kinship, economic organizations, where I felt answer is good. In the very first paragraph, rather than giving a technical definition, if you write your understanding of that particular concept, like in the first 4 lines, if you write the understanding of family. So family is an institution whereby a married couple and born married couple and the children, either by blood or adopted, staying together under single residence under one economic subsistence, is called as family. Means your understanding of family should be there. Then in the second paragraph, you can write the definition of Murdoch, you can write the definition of Westermarck, you can write the definition of Newton, William, Stephen, any one standard definition you write. Then 2 paragraphs completed. Explain the major elements or components of family. Then you will write about major elements of family. So the major elements or major components of family are being given by Murdoch. The major elements or major components of family are being given by Murdoch, number 1. So what are the elements we will be highlighting now? If you see the answer, so what are the major elements? You know better than me. Sexual functions you will mention, major component. Reproduction component is a major function, major component. Economic function is other component. Sexual component is the highest priority. Reproductive component is the second highest priority. Economic function is the third highest priority. 4th, socialization, enculturation of the children. Socialization means enculturation of the children happens in family. That is the 4th point. Or identification of an individual is because of family. Few more, like economic bond is there, long time permanent bond, permanency of the bond is there, and upbringing of children is there, and the size of the family, emotional bond is there, affection and bonding is there. So sense of responsibility there, social control mechanism is there. So the question is mainly focused upon, second question, explain the major elements or components of a family. Illustrate your answer with suitable anthropological examples. So who studied what? With your examples, you need to write an answer. So for every concept, I gave example. Like for example, sense of responsibility. In Kasi family, the female head will be taking the responsibility. Sir, what is anthropological examples, sir? Tribal examples. See, anthropological way of writing answer means not only writing anthropologist names, it is also quoting tribal examples is also called as anthropological way of writing. I gave you clarity. So, anthropological way of writing means is not only, I'm telling, it is anthropologist names we have to use. For example, Kathleen Goff. You can write here Nair family. Kathleen Goff studied Nair family. According to Kathleen Goff, the female head will be taking care about the complete family, which is studied by Kathleen Goff. That will be one example. So, anthropological examples are nothing but you have to quote the examples from tribal societies, then your answer is perfect. Third question. I gave proper conclusion also. Third question. See here. Discuss the concept of culture relativism. Discuss the concept of culture relativism. Everyone know culture relativism is a concept which is given by Franz Boas. According to him, every cultures are unique in their context. One culture should not be compared with another culture. That particular concept is called as culture relativism. The culture relativism term is coined by Oil Mason. And the contributors of culture relativism concept is not only just Franz Boas, Margaret Mead, as well as Ruth Benedict also helped in the concept development of culture relativism. So discuss the concept of culture relativism in the context of rising global debates on freedom of expression and religious sensitivity. I gave you very good examples if you notice. So how to write answer for this I will tell you. First, culture relativism, your understanding. Then cultural relativism definition which is given by Franz Boas, and the term culture relativism which is given by Olste Maassen, and who are the other anthropologists who contributed to the concept of culture relativism you will mention. Finish. 3/4 of the page has been completed. Then characteristics of culture relativism you will mention. It is, the characteristics are, it is inclusive, it takes all people into consideration. Second, it is diversified, it accepts diversity. Third, it is open for any suggestions, any advices. It is sustainable, it will work for future services, it is open-minded, it is culturally sensitive. So these are the characteristics of culture relativism. Then one more paragraph you will read. Culture relativism is a concept which is developed against ethnocentrism. Hence culture relativism and ethnocentrism are at the both polar ends. You will draw one. Both at the polar ends of a line. One is culture relativism, other is ethnocentrism. But however, second page we rotated, second page. But however, there is a rising global debate on freedom of expression and religious sensitivity. So there is a debate is going on. For example, freedom of expression. In France, there is a newspaper called Charles Hebdo, whereby they promote criticizing, they promote a satirical nature of religion which is acceptable. But in fundamentalist countries like Afghanistan, where the satirical nature of religion is not at all acceptable, so there are controversies, there are controversial things, or there are some issues which are going around. So that from second paragraph onwards, second page onwards, you have to write it. So first you write what is cultural relativism. As I told you, Franz Boas, then freedom of expression as universal value versus culture specificity. So for example, Charles Hebdo in France. So freedom of expression as a universal value. I am telling it is a universal value. But few people are telling that no, on the name of freedom of expression, you are disturbing our culture. Where fundamentalist countries are telling the same. That is the reason they attacked Charles Hebdo. Once in the city called as Nice, France, a terrorist attack happened 8 years back, mainly to target Charles Hebdo newspaper agency. So first, freedom of expression as a universal value versus second, religious sensitivity and cultural norms. Religious sensitivity, for example, in India, the movies are satirical on Hindu gods, which is not acceptable. It resulted into banning of the movies, or it is resulted into some conflicts. So hence, culture relativism is also invalid. People are not accepting culture relativism. So people are telling that on the name of religious freedom, you cannot criticize our culture, you cannot criticize our religious feelings. Means with examples you have to prove it. Religious sensitivity and cultural norms. Clash between secularism and faith-based worldviews. People are telling it is secular, people are telling it is faith. So people are telling that we need to continue our own faith, but cultural relativism is telling that yes, we are open, all cultures can stay together, so secularism. Hence there is a conflict between both of them. Again I will go back. First understand the question. In the context of rising global debates on freedom of expression and religious sensitivity, discuss the concept of culture relativism. Whether culture relativism is acceptable. My culture, you know better than me. Female genital mutilation, sati, dowry, or some social evils. I want to continue it. It is my religious freedom. So there is a debate between religious freedom and there is a debate between culture relativism. So hence we can tell that culture relativism is not all the times acceptable. On the name of culture relativism, if there is any degradation of freedom of religion or degradation of human rights or there is violation of human rights, compulsory there is a need for questioning the culture relativism also. Hence, culture relativism is not a foolproof concept. Culture relativism is not accepted universally. Culture relativism is accepted with some conditions. That should be your conclusion for the third question. Examples. How many examples you write, those many marks you will get. I know you know this concept, but examples are most important. Fourth question. I gave a lot of examples. Local knowledge, according to Clifford Geertz. Discuss the various forms of dissent groups in anthropology. Various forms of dissent groups. What is dissent? Associating oneself with his ancestors, and that particular group is called as dissent group, and the rules which are associated with the dissent is called as dissent rules. So there are 4 varieties of dissent groups are there, or you can tell there are 2 broad classifications of dissent. One is agnate, other is cognate. Agnate is unilineal dissent, and whereas cognate is double dissent, bilineal dissent, ambilineal dissent. So you will be writing what is dissent definition, which is given by Mayer Fortis. The dissent definition is given by Mayer Fortis, which is nothing but ego is associated with ancestor. That ancestor and his complete group is called as dissent, whereby he will be having affiliation and influence with those people. That is called as dissent. And the dissent can be divided into 2. One is agnate and other is cognate, based upon number of lines associated. Agnate, only 1 line association, whereas cognate, 2 lines association. So unilineal, again in this unilineal you will write about patry, you will write about matry. In patry you will write any society like Gond you will write. In matry you will write Kasia or Nair. Double descent you can write Yako tribe, and in bilineal descent you can write modern societies. In ambilineal society, whereby what is ambilineal society I will tell you. In one generation, if we choose father line, then against the next child, in the next generation, they will be having the choice whether to choose father side or mother side. That is called as ambilineal. There is a choice. I have the choice whether to go through my father line or my mother line. If I choose my mother line, finish, done. Then again my child, he will have the choice when he become adolescent, whether he should take he should take his father's side or his mother's side. That is called as ambilineal descent. So you will write about ambilineal descent. Double descent क्या होता है? Few traits. People are confusing between them. So again I am repeating. Double descent means different attributes for different line. Few attributes from father side, few attributes from mother side. Like what, sir? Like what? Material related father side, non-material related mother side, spiritual related mother side, or economic related father side. That is called as double descent. You know bilineal, whereby we will be having choose both of them equally. That is called as bilineal. Ambilineal, in one generation, for example, I am there. I am choosing father or mother. I have the choice. Finish. Once I decide it is final. Then my child, he will be having the choice to take either father or mother. That is called as ambilineal descent. One more descent is there, which is called as parallel descent. They will be tracing ancestor based upon their gender. They will be tracing their ancestor based upon their gender. It is called as parallel descent. It is called as parallel descent. So question is, discuss the various forms of descent groups in anthropology. 2 pages you have to write. First part of the question has been completed. See again, your skill of answer writing depends upon how much quantity you are writing with respect to demand of the question. So full stop is there. So 50% of the question is this. Second 50%. How do these forms shape kinship organizations and social structures in different society? How they shape How they shape? They shape after marriage where to stay, residence. They shape whom to marry, whether parallel cousins or cross cousins, whom to marry. First whom to marry, second after marriage where to stay, and how I am going to share my property, and how I am going to share my power, and how I am going to share my inheritance of spirituality. This all will be decided based upon the descent. So 2 points, one section, 50% is descent groups, 50% is how this forms shape kinship organizations and social structure. With examples you would write. For example, in Ashanti tribal community, mother's brother, after the marriage, he will be staying with mother's brother, Avanku local, or patrilocal, or matrilocal, or Avanku local, patrilineal, matrilineal, patriarchal, matriarchal. This all you will be writing. In this, you can keep the example of Tarwad system. Tarwad, whereby in Kerala, in Nair society, after the marriage, husband will be the visitor. That is called as Tarwad society. So, how they are organized. In our Indian system, whom one can marry, you can write the example of parallel cousin, you can write the example of cross cousin. In Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, you can write the example of uncle-niece marriages. So this descent system will be helping us to find this particular 5 things. Whom to marry, after the marriage, where we have to have the residence, property, political power, and inheritance of spirituality. These 5 things are divided based upon the descent. That should be your answer. The same thing I mentioned here. Forms of descent, matrilineal, patrilineal. Patrilineal example I gave, matrilineal example I gave. Double diagrams are very important. Double descent, I told you, Ako tribe of Nigeria. Bilineal descent where both sides. Ambilineal descent, one side, one line. Means choice. Then it mainly helps in kinship organization, inheritance and succession patterns. Residence rules, where they have to stay after the marriage, residence rules. Political affiliation and religious affiliation. Marriage alliance, whom one can marry, whom one cannot marry. For example, Bedouins, they will be marrying parallel cousins. Whereas Gonds, they will be marrying cross cousins. So what Ivan Pritchard, patrilineal segments, newer political structure he studied. Descent should be studied contextually, not as an authoritative determinant of behavior. 3 anthropological perspectives also, even intentionally I kept so that you will remember. Ivan Pritchard, what he told? Ivan Pritchard told that he studied patrilineal segments of newer society and came to a conclusion that they are following patrilineal systems. 5th question. Explain the anthropological significance of rules of marriage. Pulkit, but the question asks descent groups, so shouldn't we write lineage? That is, see, very, very important. Types of descent. Okay, I understood your question. Pulkit, see here. Pulkit, with that you can also add one more point also you can add. Very good. You can also continue. There are lineage, clan based, fratry based, moiety based, and kindred. That also you can give the passing preference. No mistake in that. You can also write that as well. That also you can add. ठीक है Pulkit? Both should be covered. Explain the anthropological significance of the rules of marriage. So tell me, there are types of marriages and rules of marriage. What are rules of marriage? Preferential, prescriptive, prescriptive, those are called as rules of marriage. So there are 3 rules of marriage. Preferential marriages. What are preferential marriages? Endogamy, exogamy, hypergamy, hypogamy, incest, taboo is preferential type of marriages. These are prescribed type of marriages. What are prescribed type? Endogamy, exogamy, hypergamy, hypogamy, and it's prescribed. Like this only marriage should happen. Preferential, whereby I can give the preference, like a primary preference, who parallel cousins, cross cousins, uncle niece. Secondary preference, levirate, sororate. These are called as whereby I can give the preference, preferential type of marriages, whereby I can prescribe. What are prescribed type of marriages? Like Endogamy, like this only marriage should happen. And prescriptive, where the marriage should not happen. Where the marriage should not happen. Those are called as prescriptive type of marriage, where the marriage between the father and the daughter, mother and the son, and brother and the sister, that is called as prescriptive type of marriage. Preferential, prescribed. In prescribed we have 4, like this only, endogamy and exogamy mainly. Prescribed are 2, endogamy and exogamy. Whereas preferential are what? Primary, cross cousins and parallel cousins and uncle niece. Whereas secondary, which is 2, one is levirate, sororate. Whereas prescriptive, incest, where the marriages should not happen like this. These are called as 3 rules of marriages with suitable examples. You can write the examples. Yes. So definition, prescriptive. Prescriptive, again I am repeating, prescriptive means endogamy and exogamy. Preferential. Discuss the structural transformation of Indian families in the context of urbanization, migration and changing gender roles. Simple. So he's asking about families, structural transformation in families. First, what you have to write? Family definition. Westermark or Stephen Newton William, one definition you will write. Before that, 20 marker. So your understanding of family, then the technical definition of family, then the characteristics of family. What are the characteristics of family? Living under a single roof, one economic subsistence, one kitchen, that is called as family. Generally it is called as family. Now this family, like any other institution, family is also no exception. Family as an institution is also subjected to change, and the family as a changing institution is getting transformed because of urbanization, because of migration, because of changing gender roles. First, urbanization you will write. How I will write my answer if that is the case? So I mentioned understanding of family, definition of family, characteristics of family. Like any other institution which is getting changed, the family as an institution also is subjected to change. Hence, there is a huge transformation which is happening in the family. The main reasons behind it are urbanization, migration and changing roles. First, urbanization. So what I will do, I will write individual components of urbanization. In urbanization, what are the components are there? Individualism, comfort oriented, job opportunities, unconcerned attitude, anonymity. These are the factors which are there. These characteristics, these factors which are present in urbanization are impacting family. Same, migration, cost, push migration, pull migration. Push migration, like caste-based identity, whereby I am subjected to discrimination. So I don't want to be in the villages where the caste-based discrimination is there. So people are coming outside and they are living outside. That is called as push-based migration, which is responsible for destruction of family system. Pull-based migration, pull by which opportunities are there, resources are there in urban center. So in other places, so people are getting migrated. Push, pull. Then impact, what is happening. So the question here, discuss the structural transformation of India in the context of, so characteristics you give, gender roles. So gender roles first, feminism, whereby the feminist people are increasing, which are advocating for equal rights for women. Number 2, gender roles. What are the characteristics in gender roles? Egalitarian values. 3, gender equality. So characteristics of gender roles. Then how it is impacting? It is impacting in number of diverse cases are increasing. For example, recently released National Crime Reports Bureau 2019 told that 44% of the newly wedded couples are climbing the steps of courts. So these are some changes. Urbanization changes. For example, what you can tell, Iravati Karve studied Kanpur society and she came to conclusion that in spite of urbanization, the number of joint families in Kanpur is not reducing. So it is not that urbanization always will be responsible for joint family to change to nuclear family. In Kanpur, the joint families number is not reducing. So she told it. So that impact you have to mention. But however, the final impact is single parent families are increasing, live-in relationships are increasing, same-sex marriages and same-sex couple families are increasing without children, and extramarital affairs are increasing. Hence, the family as an institution is deteriorating but not disappearing. It is deteriorating but not disappearing, should be the conclusion. Family as an institution is deteriorating but not disappearing. Gender roles, same. Shift, how it is getting shift. See, Iravati Karves. In what ways are the traditional concepts of status and role, mainly who studied it? R.C. Brown. Being challenged in contemporary Indian society, particularly in the context of reservation-based upward mobility and evolving work cultures. So for this, status, position, it can be ascribed, status, or achieved status. For every status, there is role. Father is having status, father is having role. Who studied this? R.C. Brown. According to him, every social structure is intact, every social structure is fixed, mainly because of status and role. So you will explain about this. Now, my question is what? Particularly in the context of reservation-based upward mobility. So we will write about reservation. So what is happening? Earlier, the caste-based discrimination was there because of ascriptive nature. But now, because of reservations, the merit-oriented lower caste people can also climb the ladder and they can change their status. And the status can be because of educational institutions, education they acquire. The status can be improved by the job they do. The status can be improved by the business they do, entrepreneurship skills, startup skills. So various these opportunities are lifting their status. Eventually their role is also getting changed. So my question is about mainly status and role. See, leaders like Ambedkar, more Jignesh Bhivani, shift in societal roles of formerly marginalized community, rise of Dalit assertion, intercaste marriage policies like Ambedkar intercaste marriage policy is also one factor which is lifting the SC women, mainly if the FC women they marry, they get 5 lakhs rupees. Work globalization, urbanization, women in workforce, dual income households, flexibility identity roles. Discuss development of the concept of, this I asked in the first question also. Discuss the concept of development of culture in anthropology. Discuss the concept of evolution of the term called as culture. Evolutionist perspective, evolutionist approach, how the culture evolved. Historical particularist approach, how culture evolved. Diffusionist approach, how culture evolved. British, German, American. Evolutionist, savagery, barbarism, civilization. Mainly because of psychic unity of mankind. Historical, culture is because of environmental aspects, history and psychological aspects, in which he emphasized more on history. Then British diffusionist, only one center from where the culture got diffused to different center, and the center is what? Egypt. Whereas German diffusionists, they believed migration of people. The people, they have culture circles. There are multiple culture circles from where the culture got diffused. Hence, the people migrate to different places, hence the culture got diffused. Whereas American, they believed what? Geographical proximity. Geographical proximity. As the people are very near, the culture got diffused. It is geographical proximity. Functionalism. Functionalism. Every culture is having a function. If function is used, if function is performing its purpose, then that function will evolve. Structuralist. Levi-Strauss. More than the culture, it is the people who are responsible for the evolution of culture. Then culture personality school, which is personality influences culture, culture influences personality. Accordingly, the culture is getting evolved. Then cognitive anthropologists. Culture is nothing but what is present in the minds of the people. So these many approaches you need to write for that question, which is called as discuss the development of the concept of culture in anthropology. These many approaches you need to mention. Evolutionary thinkers, diffusionist and historical approaches, Franz Boas approach, structuralist approach, culture personality school approach. Yes. Part 2, 15 marker, 3 pages. See, listen. So, finally, can you give any tips, sir? What I want to inform you all is, in 20 marker, don't go directly into the definition part. In the very first part, as I told you in the beginning also, explain your understanding of the concept, then you go for a technical part. Then you elaborate with thinkers as well as tribal examples. That should be your answer. Next, for 10 marker and 15 marker, you can pinpoint with any thinker's definition. Why? Because you are left with only 3 pages. Marriage is no longer a social necessity, but a personal choice. Critically evaluate the statement in light of contemporary studies. So first, marriage is a necessity. Marriage is not a necessity. Or how I will write? Marriage definition, marriage characteristics, then side heading, marriage as a necessity because of sexual needs, because of reproductive needs, because of cooperation, because of social cohesion, because of emotional bonding, I want marriage. Next. No, marriage is not required. In today's contemporary world, the sexual relations can be, or gratification of sexual thing can be done by many ways, like live-in relationship. Number 2, emotional bond cannot be so much expected. Why? Because people are giving importance for individualism. Third, the commercial element is playing major role rather than social cohesion. Fourth, laws are given importance rather than customary laws. So, because of all these factors, I am telling that the marriage is no more a necessity. Like that. 2 divisions I will make. Then finally, I will come to conclusion that as told by Levi-Strauss, the marriage as an institution is important. The marriage is performing its functions, but the marriage definition is not everywhere the same. So, marriage is seen as social necessity. How it is becoming a personal choice today. You can bring Article 21 of the Constitution. Traditional example, Malnovisky, marriage fulfilling biological Malnovisky, R.C. Brown, role in maintaining social structure like status and role. Marriage as a personal choice nowadays because of career, because of money, because of ambitions, because of IAS exam, urban women, these all examples. Balance between social belonging and personal autonomy, but however, need for emotional and social security, which can be guaranteed only by marriage. Yes, flexibility. I made one table also, traditional view and modern view. Compare the principles of unilineal and bilineal descent with reference to changing kinship dynamics in Indian metropolitan society. So the question is about what? Descent. Descent definition again. Descent characteristics again. Unilineal descent you will write about patrilineal and matrilineal. Again you will write bilineal, whereby we will be having relationship with both, which is called as modern society, father and mother equally. Then this is very important. With reference to changing kinship dynamics. Now, in contemporary times, we are not giving importance to descent-based kinship, we are giving importance to ego-based kinship. That ego-based kinship is called as kindred. That ego-based descent is called as kindred, whereby the man is getting associated with both father side relatives and mother side relatives. The man is getting related with his spouse and relatives. And he is not in association with everyone with whom he is sharing like-mindedness, with whom he is sharing cooperation, with whom he is in contact all the times. That particular person, he is becoming a closed group. That particular closed group of relatives is called as kindred. So indirectly he is asking about kindred descent. So you should write about kindred descent. So in contemporary, we are not giving importance to unilineal descent, we are not giving importance to bilineal descent, we are not giving to any form of descent, but we are giving descent to kindred, which is equivalent to Malnovisky's functionalism, which he named it as kinship algebra. He told that all the kinships are not our core kinshipments. So with whom we are going to maintain the relationship is also a mathematics. So hence he called who are my close relatives are calculative, who are helping me in my functions, those people are only my kinship, hence it is called as kinship algebra. With whom the functions are being performed, that is called as kinship algebra, which is also called as what? Kindred. Yes. That is what. See, listen. Again, I am telling everyone. Compare the principles of unilineal and bilineal descent with reference to changing kinship dynamics. With reference to changing kinship dynamics. How our dynamics are changing. Whether we are fixed to unilineal, whether we are fixed with bilineal, no. Our kinship dynamics are changing. How it is changing? Purpose based. How it is changing? Like-minded based. How it is changing? Cooperatives. Who are cooperating us? How it is changing? Who is helping me? So it is nothing but what? Calculations. That calculated relations are called as what? That calculated relationships, the calculated kinship is called as what? Kindred. That calculated kinship bond is called as what? Kindred. So indirectly the answer is about kindred. The first part. This is first part of the question. For every two parts of the questions are there. This is 1.5 page. This is next 1.5 page. You should come. You will mention about anyhow. You will make patry. You will write about matry. You will write about bilineal. When you write patry, matry, bilineal, 1.5 page will be completed. You have to draw diagram, no? Then the changing kinship dynamics, in which you will tell that the the changing kinship dynamics are nothing but kindred. And bilateral is, see, I will be associated with both, but here kindred, I will be associated with both, but whom I am interested, ego-centered. Kindred is ego-centered, but bilateral, can be unilineal, it is descent-centered. Kachitanga. Ikkada kachitanga kaadu, na ishtam. Yes, third question. Yes or no online? These are there. So see, unilineal we will discuss, bilineal also we will discuss, comparison also we will do. See, here we are doing comparison. Here we have Praveen. Here we are unilineal and bilineal. Comparisons is also there. But finally we will break down it. Yes. Next question. How does digital culture redefine the anthropological understanding of shared symbols, shared values, shared identity? So, digital culture given by Daniel Miller. Digital culture, which is given by Daniel Miller, according to him, values, symbols and identities mediated and transmitted through digital technologies, through internet, through social media and virtual community is called as, means the culture which I am going to learn not by enculturation of family, the culture which I am going to learn through media platforms, internet platforms is called as digital culture. That is the meaning. Daniel Miller tells that the culture up to now were being inherited or acquired or enculturated. The culture which is learned by the social media interaction, the culture which is learned by internet is called as digital culture. So the question is what? See, very frequently I am going back to the question, and whether I myself am questioning whether I am addressing the demand of the question or not. How does digital culture, first I told what is digital culture, redefine the anthropological understanding of shared symbols, values and identity. So the shared culture now culture definition which is given by Clifford Geertz. Clifford Geertz gave a definition of culture whereby culture is nothing but the patterns of symbols which are having inherited meanings in it. So culture is nothing but combination of symbols. So what are the symbols? The symbols can be dress symbol, the symbols can be material symbol, the symbol can be non-materials also. That's all together is called as culture. Now, according to digital culture, the culture which I am going to learn from digital media is called as culture. But the symbols which I learn from digital culture is not that effective as effective which I got from acquired, which I got from enculturation, which I received through digital platforms. That you have to mention. Why he asked this question? Why I asked this question, or why this question paper? Why we want to ask this question? Because you have to understand this. Nowadays, digital culture is also one. Can you tell me any example? Radicalization of terrorists. This is one concept whereby self-radicalization. They are becoming self-radical by watching YouTube videos. 2013 California bombing, wife and husband both manufactured bomb just by watching YouTube videos, software employees. So this you can, so the negative values also getting pumped through digital platform. So obviously positive values also will be pumped through digital. Transformation. See, digital memes, emojis, hashtags. Next question. Examine how legal recognition of same-sex union challenges the traditional anthropological definition of marriage. You tell me first whether same-sex marriages got legalized in India or not. Same-sex marriages are legalized in India. Same-sex marriages decriminalized but not legalized. Earlier, according to section 377, it was a criminal offence. Now, after Navtej Singh Johhar's judgment, it became decriminal. But the legalization of same-sex marriage didn't happen. The first statement should be that. To the evaluator, we have to give some concepts that yes, same-sex marriages been decriminalized in India as per Navtej Singh Johhar's judgment of Supreme Court. But however, the same-sex marriages are not legalized. The same-sex marriages are the marriages between the same sex like lesbians and gays. Then you will go, how legal recognition of same-sex union challenges the traditional, next full stop. The same-sex marriages seems to be challenging the traditional anthropological understanding of marriage. First, we will understand marriage. Marriage definition, characteristics of marriage definitions of anthropological understanding. So, two people, Westermarck and Stephen Newton, William definition you will give. Next, this same-sex marriages are going to impact the marriage institution. Number one, already the marriages are been there, like Azande, boy-boy, newer girl-girl marriages are there. Azande, boy-boy, newer girl-girl marriages are there. Azande, boy-boy, yes, Azande, boy-boy, newer girl-girl marriages are there. There are marriages like ghost marriages are also there. So hence, in India, the same-sex marriage, see, you are a bureaucrat, the same-sex marriages is not going to harm the marriage as an institution, but however, But however, the marriage as an institution should not be distorted. Full stop. Yes or no, Pulkit? Yes. Not legalized, Supreme Court rejected, yes, correct. Yes, Pulkit, correct. Sir, such questions like digital culture are not given in notes, so how to regard that? See, the questions which we honestly, I'm telling, we are putting a lot of effort to make these questions. So, thinking from the perspective of UPSC for 2025, it is taking a lot of time. So, such type of content I am providing you in the model answers format. So, this model answers and class notes is enough for your mains writing, which are not covered in the notes. It will be covered in the questions format. Next. Discuss the contemporary relevance of classificatory and descriptive kinship terminology. Iravati Karve also studied this, and she told Aryans are classificatory and Dravidians are descriptive. So you will write about classificatory, you will write about descriptive, classificatory, descriptive, 6 which are being studied by Henry Morgan and supported by Murdoch. What are the 6? Iroquois Indians, Inuits, Omaha Indians, Crow Indians, Sudanese, Hawaiians. So the 6 you will mention. After that, just you will mention them. After that, discuss the contemporary elements of classificatory in the context. Nowadays, what is happening? It is everything is becoming classificatory or descriptive today. We are becoming more classificatory or we are becoming more descriptive. So we are becoming more classificatory or more descriptive. It's a combination of both classificatory and descriptive. Last question. 8 determinants was been given by Kroiber, like age of the speaker, or with whom, with reference person, based upon the reference sex, collaterality, linguistic structure, like Babuliki Papa Idarao, fathers. So 8 determinants also you will mention. How has the COVID-19 pandemic redefined the role of family in terms of care, support, and intergenerational solidarity? So again, we will mention about traditional roles of family as a definition. Traditional role of the family acts as a primary caregiver, provides intensified caregiving responsibilities, emotional and mental health support. People for the first time after a long time, they came together and started living together. So togetherness increased. At the same time, there are evidences that domestic violence also increased. There are evidences that domestic violence cases has been skyrocketed when compared to pre-COVID. And in COVID times, the domestic violence cases also increased. So both you will be mentioning. Caregiving, care loving, support, responsibility was being enhanced. At the same time, the violence on the women in the families also increased in the times of COVID. Work-family role merging, economic mutual support, strengthening of multi-generational ties, digital bridging across generations, culture and ritual continuity. But however, the negative point is, there is also the increase in domestic violence. Finally, in anthropological perspective, after the COVID, again, the family as an institution is losing its relevance, but it is never getting disappeared. So in this way, you have to write your answer.